3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sweet Taboos. This is your host, Ayan.
And I'm your co-host, Tiffany. On today, we will be discussing racism and how it affects us in our society. But before we jump forward, please like, share, and subscribe for more taboo topics. So, before we jump into this, what brought up this conversation about racism?
Okay, so with our podcast being about taboo topics, society addresses racism in a joking manner, but if we get to the core of things, it's uncomfortable, and that is why it is taboo. And we live in a world where if it's not a joke, then we don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So we really have to address the core of things so we can move forward.
Okay.
So the concept of race is used to identify a group of people, and it originated from the Spanish Inquisition during 1478 through 1834 on the search for pure blood. So if you'd like more context, definitely do your research. Now, on the other hand, racism is a learned behavior, right?
Is.
So any and everyone can be racist, but that does not make it acceptable. So instead, let's remain respectful and loving until Jesus returns. So we have listed plenty of resources in the description. Please make sure to check that out, and let's jump into it. Brace yourselves because this is not a comfortable conversation. Okay?
Most definitely. Subject 1. Tupac and Afeni Shakur were advocates for the Black community. This is Tupac's mother. Everyone that knew Miss Afeni knew that she was an elite member of the Black Panther movement. In 1966 through 1982, she was a woman of high intellect, as persons who knew her stated in the Dear Mama documentary.
So, have you seen that?
Yes, I actually have. I've watched a few episodes. It's like 5, but it was a very interesting documentary.
Right. I personally love documentaries. It allows us to gather the deeper rooted information about this person or that event. So when I was watching it and, gathering data for this space, I was just, taken back because with Tupac and his image, he was known for his thug image. And so we saw the final product and we thought that was all it was. So being able to dive into the backstory of it all was, mind-blowing.
It was.
So I definitely recommend you guys watching that. It's on Hulu or wherever you have access to it. Watch it.
Most definitely. My intake on the Dear Mama documentary, it was mind-blowing, but also it was very heartfelt. Everybody knows Tupac. I grew up in the 90s, and so I did have an opportunity to listen to him, and most people did think about his thug image. Thought he was about killing. He didn't have any background or, home training. I'm going to say it like that. But he actually did.
Right. He was very intellectual.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
And pretty much his mother, she was a big advocate for the Black Panthers, and most of his teachings came from that.
Right. He was raised by that group of people.
Yes.
And that is an example of, being raised by a village. Not everyone has that village, but I think he definitely has that experience. He had that experience of being raised by a village.
Yes, he did. He spoke a lot about just things that we faced. And most of his songs, most people thought he was singing about balance and things like that, but it was mainly subjects about what other people in our community was going through.
Right. But he was there to observe it all. Because I think when people are talking about something, more than likely it's from their personal observation, their point of view.
Yes.
So he was just able to really convey that through his music as a poet. And it sounded good. So it was like he did his job.
Yes.
Very well. So
he did. He did. What's your favorite song by Tupac?
Ooh. There's so many. What's the one I love? I cannot think of the name.
A lot of people know Dear Mama.
No, I cannot think of it.
California Love?
No, that's super popular though. What's yours? Because I can't think of mine. Ooh, What Would You Do for Love? That's one of them. That's the only thing I could think of right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? He had a lot of hits. And so a lot of people thought he talked about police brutality, also, I guess, things that were displayed in a sexual manner too. But he was not about that. He was not about disrespect of any
Oh,
kind.
yes. That was one of his mottos. That was his slogan.
Mhm.
He wanted to be respectful as possible. And I think he delivered that. And that was his music. His artistry was his way of being an influencer.
Okay.
You know, maybe what he talked about wasn't the most positive,
Mhm.
but he was still able to convey a lot in positive ways to people.
Mhm.
So we have to give props where props are due.
Almost definitely. His mother, she played a big part in how he educated himself. Even though what we saw was the thug image, he was very intelligent.
Mhm.
He was all about educating himself about any situation. And that is something I think we are falling in a trap with, especially in today's world.
Right. The education piece is disregarded.
Yes.
And we can't do that moving forward. So with all due respect, the Black community has to take accountability for placing the existing stereotypes on ourselves. Here's some statistics, okay? You can look it up. So the Black community holds 13.6% of America's population and holds 60%, 60, of the crime in America. So I want you guys to take a second and do the math. How do you hold about 14% of the population, but hold 60% of the crime? That's not equal.
No.
That doesn't make sense. So we really have to take accountability now. We're in 2024 and we can't move forward constantly pointing the finger at the other party. Reflect, move forward in a healthy way. So the blame is not 100% on the dense minds of our brothers and sisters, but the impact of environment, like we discussed with Tupac, he was brought up in he had experience in different environments, but his final image was a thug image. So his environment influenced him to become that way. So we have to do better in creating a healthy environment for ourselves and for our youth, because they are our future.
They are. They are. So based on Tupac, he was a product of his environment. So how do you feel your environment has affected you?
Very, very good. Ooh. Like Tupac, I have been in various environments and they have impacted me in different ways. But I'd say what I have gained is the ability to adapt. You know, having adaptability is what's going to help you to survive. And in the rapidly changing world that we live in, you have to have adaptability or you will be swept away. So that is what my environments have provided to me, the ability to adapt.
Okay, most definitely.
What about you? How has your environment impacted you?
Just growing up in the South, we lived in certain neighborhoods. And so just based on my upbringing and the school district that I went through, I felt like I was confined to certain things. Like I had certain opportunities that I could apply for, certain things I could do, certain jobs I would apply for. And so I think it affected me, you know, just, I guess, making me feel like I was actually in a box.
Right. You felt restricted.
Yes. And so, you know, as I continue to grow up and see things in the world, I decided to, you know, branch out and learn some things on my own.
Right. Explore.
Yes.
You need to explore.
And it basically changed my life, just, I guess, being more open-minded, but just growing up my environment, I just felt like I was confined to certain things. The opportunities that I felt like was not personally given to me.
That shows a lack of resources as well.
Yeah. We did at that particular time lack a lot of resources, or it may have been resources available to us. But, you know, if you don't go look or seek for it, you'll never know.
Right. Because life without resources sucks. And, you know, I have been grateful enough to receive all the resources I have. So I'm very, very grateful for that. but I do appreciate you being open about how your environment has changed you.
Yeah, it has. And most definitely just for the future and the youth. You know, I just want to encourage that it is so many endless opportunities.
Yes.
You don't have to be constricted to just one thing. You know, open your mind, explore. We only have a chance to make an impact in this life. And so make it count. Most definitely make it count.
That is kind of like a Maya Angelou, one of her quotes. I can't recite it perfectly, but the context was just saying, this is your one life and leave a legacy if you're going to live. Okay. Leave a legacy. That's basically what she's saying. Don't sit here and, not do anything worthwhile. Make it count.
Most definitely.
So to keep moving forward, I want to move in a more serious direction because our whole mission is to change the narrative, to change the way the Black community may support society, and it's a rabbit hole, but we're going to start here. So first, our Black mothers and fathers are failing to educate our Black sons and daughters. And that is the root of our problems. The education piece is so crucial because if you are unaware, you're an easy target.
Most definitely.
If you're unaware, what are you going to do? You're going to do what you always know.
Right.
So it's that education piece that's so crucial to our success. So in our neighborhoods, we are in an infinite distress, whether that is via drugs, infidelity, and trauma. Our parents and grandparents who do not heal from their trauma can pass down their trauma. The harsh and uncomfortable upbringings that they may endure can travel through generations, okay? So I want to unpack the name calling, the lack of guidance and education. There are many Black adults who are quick to shut down a curious and intelligent Black child, forcing that Black child to seek answers elsewhere. And we are our children's or the youth's first teachers. Everyone needs a role model. Everyone needs a blueprint, okay? So we really have to learn what we don't know so that we can set the next generations up for success. That's
Most
just
definitely.
really what it is.
Most definitely.
Because they are our future.
They are. They are our future.
And that's so big, and some of us don't take that serious enough.
No. And I think
the youth is the future.
They are. And I think in our community, we struggle really hard with identifying trauma.
Oh, yes.
We don't, I guess we have been kind of conditioned or just say, suck it up, things are going to be okay. But, just based on how we teach our children, we're doing things based on how we were actually taught. And so when it comes down to us failing to educate our sons and daughters, I do feel a certain responsibility in that because like in today's world, we have access to absolutely everything. I mean, what can you not find?
Yeah, we have a portable computer.
Most definitely. Everybody has a cell phone. And so we have to do better with educating our sons and daughters, also even educating ourselves.
Right.
Because with my parents, they was born in the 40s. And so when I was coming up, I don't know about the resources that they had to us. Whatever resources that they knew about, I feel that they actually probably tried to utilize that. But we have so many resources now. And us having access to the internet, libraries, just asking questions, because with the older generation, like all our legacies and traditions, all of those things are going in the grave with them.
Yeah.
And so for the youth, nobody actually knows about,
their roots. Everyone's kind of just floating around. And, like you said, struggling to identify certain things.
Right.
So, it's one thing to be aware and identify and then moving forward in a positive way. So Just as our white counterparts are the root of their problems, which may be displaying racism because they were taught to be that way, okay? And the exact same problems in our community are taught. And we will dive more into what is being taught in our community, okay? So I am directly speaking to the Black community, but also to our other brothers and sisters so that we may all be informed, educated, and aware. Okay? So as a community, we have lost our traditions, culture, morals, and history. And we just touched on that, and we're going to touch on that some more. So I urge you all to find and rediscover the healthy parts of us, because there are healthy parts of us. You know, we connect in our food, you know. Soul food is attached to the Black community.
It is.
And I feel like that is a good thing. And, you know, our music, that is a healthy part of us. But an unhealthy part of us is the way we may shut down a Black curious child. And, you know, this happens subconsciously because of what you've been told.
Right.
You know, if you're seeking certain information or just guidance, you get shut down, excuse me, because you are searching for something that they didn't have the courage to search for or, you know, get the answers to. So we really just have to change the narrative and applaud curiosity, applaud education, and, you know, growing. Because you never stop growing, you never stop learning. So we just really have to move in that direction so we can all succeed.
Most definitely. Educating our youth and getting them back on a track of actually learning, wanting to learn.
Yes, the willingness to learn is a big piece.
Yeah, because we've kind of stepped away from that and going back to being a curious child, because I remember when I was in elementary and just hearing certain things that most of my peers were saying. I came home and, you know, I asked my parents, like, what is this? And, you know, automatically by my father and my mother being raised up in an older generation, you know, certain things you don't talk about.
Right, those taboo.
Yes, taboo.
The important things are taboo. Why can't we talk about the important things? These things are important.
Yeah, they are. But it's still based on, I guess, how they were actually raised. And so just like me, I'm a mother. And based on how I raised my children was based on the example that was set for me.
Right.
And they're much older now. But the thing is, just hearing some of the feedback now is heartbreaking. You know, just not being able to communicate effectively with my children.
That's big.
It is.
That's big.
And it's just like you say it all the time. What we don't
transform,
we transfer.
Yes.
And so
that's so true. What you do not transform is transferred. So what you're constantly running from is transferring to the next generation. So in order to decrease those chances, let's move forward in healing. And everyone's method of healing is different. So find what's going to help you heal, what's going to help you thrive, what's going to help you grow, okay? And that's why we want to encourage is moving in a better direction to change the narrative, okay? So let's continue to unpack this because it's deeply rooted, okay?
Yes.
So our stereotypes.
Yeah, let's get on that.
Okay? So our stereotypes are ghetto, uneducated, ratchet, uncivilized, robbers, killers, drug dealers, thug, and slave. The list goes on, okay?
It does.
So our influencers are male and female rappers who promote violence, casual intimacy, and it's just too much.
It is.
And who is listening to these people? The youth. And it's a duplication system because in that mind frame, they're easily influenced. So everything that they're being told or shown, they're doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So we want to talk about our habits as well of dressing ourselves to be in public such as sagging pants or wearing inside home attire. Let's stop here at the sagging pants. Why in our community we praise that habit. We praise that image, and that is why it is connected to the Black community. Who else walks around sagging their pants, showing their underwear, their butt, as if that's cool to do?
It's not. It's not.
Or if that's attractive or making you look more feminine or more masculine, whatever your goal is that really helping you to do that?
Right. Is that the image that you want to display?
Right.
Basically, when I see it, it's not a good look. It's just not a good look. And so with that, I think we need to do better. I mean, it's just like everywhere you go, you're supposed to dress for success.
Presentable, yes, dress for success. And disclaimer, y'all, we're not chopping you down or telling you what to do, because you're not going to do what I tell you to do anyway. We are just suggesting that how you display yourself is how you would be treated. It's simple, okay?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty simple.
So those behaviors display a lack of morals and integrity. We are too comfortable with being associated or being called ghetto and allowing people to expect that from us. They expect that. And you can't get mad because you're feeding into it. You're not doing anything to change it. You're just doing what you've always done and getting mad and trying to give the blame to someone else when you really need to reflect and take accountability.
Yeah.
You can't be upset because people are going to stereotype regardless. That's just how the human works. We want to be able to identify things,
right,
for security purposes. But we have to take accountability.
That's the biggest objective, is taking accountability. We have to take accountability on everything that we do. When we get up in the morning, we have the opportunity to make a decision on what we're going to do and how we're going to present ourselves. And being called ghetto, ratchet, those are not things that personally myself I would like to be associated with.
Yeah, this is not cute. This is not, no. And the thing is we come to this point to where it may be just one person that's actually influencing it, but it's just like when the public sees it, they everybody is actually included in how it displays. And so we have to learn how to move forward. Right, and change the narrative. And you have to want to change the narrative.
Yeah.
You have to have that will to do that.
We do. And I think it's not as complicated as people may think. It's not. I think it's more about a mindset. When we get up in the morning, like I said, we have an option to make a choice. And so we just have to do better with supporting ourselves and supporting each other.
Yes.
And trying to change the whole narrative, because like you stated, we're just too comfortable being associated with these certain types of names that are given to us.
And that they expect that. And I know many of us are on social media at a time, and what do we see? We see video footage of Black community members stealing from stores. You go to the comments, what are you going to see? Various point of views. We have our fellow community members saying, this is what I'm attached to, even though I don't partake in those activities. You have others who aren't in our community who are like, what do you expect?
That's a deep
So
one.
it's like, yes, we can only control what we do, our behavior, our attitude.
Right.
But if we're moving as a whole, if we're going to move as a whole, everyone needs to understand that you're representing a lot of people. And that is a lot of weight. We're not going to act like that isn't. And it's like, where do we move from here? Because I don't like being associated with people who don't care enough to find another way.
It's always another way.
But that's also some in-house grooming.
Mm-hmm.
Within our community, we are allowing this to be okay. We are displaying that this is okay.
Yeah, and it's sad. But the thing is, going back to who is raising our children, who's teaching our children, going back to where you started, how we're educating our children,
Right.
Because if it's not us, then who? And so mainly social media is doing a lot of influencing right now.
And that's going to be something we discuss in the future as well. The effects of technology, the effects of social media. And we're going to talk about it as a whole, but I really want to dissect the piece for the youth.
Okay.
The youth has fresh minds, youthful minds, and they're soaking up so much, and they're not so sure how to use that information. So we have to educate on what to do with certain information.
Most definitely.
Because they are our future. I can't say it enough. The youth is our future. So we have to do the best we can to set them up for success. They are our future, because when we're gone, they're going to have to do the next thing for the next generation.
Right.
And in this space we're in, we're having to we're not patching anymore. Because when I say patching, we're not sweeping under the rug and hoping we don't have to talk about it again. We're not patching anymore.
No.
We're sealing away and moving forward.
Right.
No, there's no more patching, y'all. So please understand that our motives are with good intentions.
Yes.
We love you all, and we just want to bring to your awareness that if you keep moving in this direction, you're digging your own grave. We're digging our own grave.
We are.
We can't blame them anymore.
No.
You can't blame them anymore, because you're sitting here, you have the right cells, and still making that decision to give them what they expect or do what you know is right and what is beneficial for you and everyone else.
We have to change the narrative. We have to be willing to be the change. We talk about change so much, and we've done a lot of marching. We've done a lot of things.
Ooh.
We've done a lot of things over history, but being that change, in today's world, we still have people advocating for change, but we still have to get to that point to where we are being the change that we want to see. And so we have to learn how to lead our young daughters, our young sons, educate them and give them the essentials that they need to be equipped for real life. Because at some point, it's only so much we can do. And they're going to get to a point to where they're going to make their own decisions. And so we really need to do our due diligence to educate our youth and basically give them the essentials to be the change for the next generation. Life is continuously going on. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And so we have to continue to do our part. Do our part because, like I say, we have went through so many years of doing the same thing, of marching and trying to bring a change, but we have to be the change ourselves.
Exactly. There's not a certain amount of marching that we can do.
No.
That's going to change it unless we take the initiative, we change it ourselves. And, that's a sequence in American history that we have been that might not be too accurate, but we are one of the communities that have had to get in the streets and advocate in those forms multiple times, with the Martin Luther King, even around the Tulsa race riot that we will touch on later on in this series. We have to, and that's why we need history. We have to learn from the history and figure out how to move forward with that, and not repeat it, because it's a sequence. Like I said, a lot of Black American history has been repeated.
Yeah, it is. And just when you turn on the TV, you know, we see the same thing. We have to change the narrative. Once again, I think this is like the biggest pointer I've gotten out of just race, because it doesn't come down to color itself.
Mm-hmm.
It still comes down to, okay, you're human. You still get the chance to make that decision when you wake up this morning to be the best version of yourself that you can actually be.
Right, to live like it's your last day.
Most definitely. YOLO, right?
Yes. So this next segment is
Okay.
going to ruffle some feathers.
Okay.
Okay. It is inevitable, but I want you guys to consider these questions.
Okay.
Why are Black people confined to the hood?
Okay.
Why are Black women the most unprotected, undesirable, and disrespected women on earth?
That's a deep one.
Yeah.
That's going to get deep.
Ooh. So why are all other races having consistent family marriage lives except the Black women?
Okay.
And why do Black women have masculine tendencies?
Ooh.
Not cooperative and so independent?
Mhm.
So all these questions stem directly from observation. And the mindset we carry is not healthy. So I just want you guys to consider that.
Okay. So I hope you look forward to our next topic.
Yes. And because we're going to be dissecting a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot we're going to dissect, because we are Sweet Taboos, but we're bringing and shining some light on taboo topics and things like we always know is swept up under the rug. We're just not going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not confined to one particular subject. It's going to be about anything that you are told to shh.
Yeah, be quiet about.
Right. And so we need to bring these things forward, and we just look forward to growing and educating ourselves and educating you guys too.
Yes. So thank you all for joining today. Let's keep changing the narrative. And until next time, stay sweet.
Sweet.